One. Good evening and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. I'm your host, Doug Engler. Joining me in the co-host seat, as always, is our good friend, Mr. Darren Starling.
Hello.
Our other co-host, Angela, will be joining us later on. She had some family obligations, so she said she would probably be late, but is still planning on joining us. I'm sure she doesn't want to miss hanging out with our amazing guest tonight. But before we get to him, we want to remind everybody that Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by Home Circle Media for the latest and greatest in anime gear, everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed art books. Be sure to check out homecirclemedia.com today or look for them at an upcoming convention near you. We're also brought to you tonight by Casey Fox. For all of your artwork, cosplay, and photography needs, be sure to check out Casey Fox. That's KAYCIFOXX on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Again, we are excited tonight. We've got an amazing guest. This gentleman has turned into a staple when it comes to October guests here on Anime-Zing Radio. I think this is the third year in a row we've had him on in October, and we are really, really excited to welcome Dan Flanders from Manic Mart.
How's it going, everybody?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us. It wouldn't be in October without having you on with us.
Right? Thanks for having me again. It definitely like one of the highlights of one of the best months there is. So it's good to be here with y'all, and now with your fancy video.
Yeah. And with video, we can add my latest edition. Everybody knows that the white Unibear you can find everywhere. The elusive black suit Unibear I had to buy online. It is an official one. I double checked and made sure, especially when it arrived. But it is an official figure, and it wasn't too bad. It was like $90 with shipping and handling from Japan. So I will take that.
Nice.
So she is going to be joining us tonight for the show. Now, for our viewers out there who may not know you or may have missed some of our shows because a lot of our backlog hasn't been uploaded to YouTube yet, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a dark artist in Vermont. I do sculptures, masks, origami, paintings, you name it. But masks tend to be my main business.
And we can see some of the work behind you. I said,
yeah, I'm wondering if this one. All right, I'm gonna see if I can bring something down.
All right.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites that I've done. Let's see if I can find a good way to.
Oh,
there
wow.
we go. And it's got movable jaw, and call it my Ravager. And even though it's kind of like a little messy up here, you can actually like see out of it just fine, and doesn't have like a mesh or anything in there.
Oh, that's crazy.
Call it Chaos Vision.
Oh, definitely. I can imagine. And now you use cardboard for a lot of the masks that you use.
Yeah, here I got an example of that as well. So yeah, this is like a sculpture that I've been working on, and let's see if I can get in the light. There we go.
Oh, wow.
Not used to showing stuff up on a video. But yeah, so I use cardboard and hot glue for most of the structure, and then finish it off with different varnishes and clays and that sort of thing.
And I apologize to the listeners out there for background noise. Casey just got back from vending AAC and is bringing stuff in, and she brought goods.
Ooh.
So I may snack on these actual like wheat cakes, chocolate, red bean paste, and coffee. So I got some treats now.
Sounds yummy.
And you see, Darren, I didn't go to the con, so I didn't buy any figures or get any autographs.
Impressive. I'm amazed the amount of self-restraint you showed.
Because I'm sure if I did go, I probably would have gotten Amanda Gish's autograph. She was one of the guests there. I know she was supposed to be a guest on with us in the past, but I don't remember if she actually came on or if that was a scheduling conflict. I know we've had a few voice actors that we've had scheduling conflicts with in the past. So, but again, thank you. If you're just tuning in, thank you so much for joining us here on Anime-Zing Radio. Our guest tonight is Manic Dan from Manic Mart. Very talented, as he put it, dark artist. He loves all things spooky. And what better of a guest to have in October than Spooky Dan himself?
It's true. It's true. I live for October.
And thank you for reminding me, since it is spooky season, I think I'm going to bring Kurumi out.
So, are you bringing a figure out, or are you changing a Dakimakura?
Changing my Dakimakura.
So he's going to be sleeping with Kurumi tonight instead of one of the other girls.
Pretty much.
Now, I know that last time we saw you was earlier this year at Vermont Sci-Fi. How have things been for you?
Good, busy, but as we were talking before the show, we've both been rather busy. Right now, on top of day jobs, which one is now like an actual art gig where we're making like public works sculptures, stuff for resorts, museums, that kind of thing. And that's a place called Arcana Workshop, and that's down in Barrie. And that's been an amazing job, but it's definitely like when you're there, it's one of those gigs where you don't sit down. You're just constantly, pouring doing resin, sanding stuff down, doing bondo, like trimming fiberglass. It's awesome, and I've learned so much while down there.
I was going to say, doing that has got to have helped you with some of your masks and some of the techniques you use because your masks have always been amazing. But with any artist, you always feel that you can do a better job and everything. So I'm sure what you've learned has helped you to grow your own business as well.
Exactly. It's been really nice using materials that I normally wouldn't have access to. Because, I mean, especially like the amounts of resin and that kind of thing that we go through, like I wouldn't be able to afford on my own. It's like it's 5-gallon drums of liquid plastic and stuff like that. And so it's really fun to like experiment. And some of that is actually like, oh, well, if you have this one and you mix a little bit of this in there and a little bit of like mad scientist work sometimes. And that's been really fun.
And you get paid to do it.
Right? Exactly.
It's not costing you anything. You're actually making money to experiment and then be like, hey, I could try this at home.
Exactly. Right now, I'm for my own projects, got a week left to finish up a werewolf costume for a movie that's going to be filming in Vermont pretty soon. Don't think I can give too much away about it, but I know that a little bit of publicity is pretty good. It's going to be called the Yorkie Werewolf, and it's going to be a horror comedy, and it sounds like it's going to be hilarious.
Interesting. And that's you've gotten some interesting jobs. It's not the first movie job that you've worked with.
Yeah, I've had a few over the years, but this is definitely going to be, I would say, easily like the most professional. Like the director, Michael, I don't know his last name off the top of my head. He came up from New York City and he's done some work down there. He has a movie on like Amazon Prime called The Sleepless that's gotten really good reviews so far, and that's kind of like his foothold to like try to get up and into like different genres.
That is so cool. Congrats on that.
Thanks. I'm really excited.
And What got you started in wanting to create masks and all of these projects out of cardboard?
One is the availability and like the structure and way that it can be sturdy enough. I grew up doing a lot of origami, so I have a good relationship with paper. And oh geez, over a decade ago, I found some pre-made like paper mache skull masks, and I was just covering them in clay and kind of like finishing them and painting them and making them look nice. And I had an Etsy for my other art, and I put those on there, and they started selling better than anything else that I had. But they were like small; they were kind of like kid sized. Oh, hello!
And Angela has joined us.
Wild Angela appeared.
Angela throws fire.
Gets everybody excited. Wait, what? The chaos has begun. Angela has shown up.
Chaos.
Is there a fifth screen?
There was. Darren we were testing some stuff before the show.
Gotcha.
And Darren had his computer tab open.
Gotcha.
But tonight our guest, Angela, is Dan Flanders from Manic Mart. I don't think you've had a chance to meet him yet. But he's been a guest on the show multiple times. I think this is his third October in a row. He likes making scary things. He does a Krampus in Vermont.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah. Speaking of the Krampus walk, we just got it scheduled. It's going to be the 10th of December this year on Church Street. If any one of the listeners are in the Burlington area,
sounds like fun.
Always a good time.
Get to scare the little ones.
And just like being able to yell and scream in a populated like shopping area and vent like the seasonal frustrations, it's very cathartic.
I can imagine that it kind of like relieves some of the anxiety and stress and stuff that we all get around the holidays.
Yup. Just get it out.
And for our viewers out there, again, if you're just tuning in, our guest tonight is Dan Flanders from Manic Mart. You've got to check out the stuff that he does. It is absolutely amazing. We do have a mask. I have displayed it previously that we got from Dan. It hangs nicely on our wall. Unfortunately, my webcam is attached to the monitor, so I can't move it to show without turning everything, and that would just be a mess. But since Vermont Sci-Fi, what other cons have you been able to make this year?
Let's see. I did also Vermont gatherings. Their summer Ren Fair in Stowe, and that was a really good show. I haven't done a whole lot this year. I've been trying to like get my feet back under me in a lot of ways and figuring out a bunch of other stuff, and been thinking about trying to go to some of the ones over in New York or Massachusetts. And I think next year I'm going to start expanding my reach again.
Definitely, I would say look into like Saratoga Comic-Con. I know Sam puts on a good show down there. We haven't been there with a table in a while, but that was the first venue that we ever tabled for with Anime-Zing Radio, and at the time it was Casey Creations, now Casey Fox. What was that, Ange?
I was going to say, what type of conventions are you looking at? Anime cons, Comic Cons, all of the above?
Anything that kind of fits in. I've been vending like mostly masks, but I've worked into like other small, like more impulse buys in the last year or two, like little creepy skeleton guys and like mini masks and stuff like that. So yeah, and anything that looks fun.
Actually, there are some good horror conventions as well nowadays.
I would love to do a horror con. That would be amazing.
I think they just had one in Mass this weekend.
I think you are correct.
Because I think Jay Moore's was at one.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
That
It
was
was
down.
Monster or something.
God, I don't.
It was down near Taunton.
Yeah. Let me look and see if I can. MonsterCon.
Yeah. I knew it had something to do with monsters.
Yep, it was MonsterCon. MONSTAH. She had to put it in the Boston spelling. Monster.
Monster.
And I know, we were talking before going on the air about that I've been to 11 cons. One reason you didn't see us at the Ren Fair for Vermont Gatherings is that weekend we sponsored a small up-and-coming con called Rail City Fan Fest in St. Albans.
Oh, yep.
And I think their dates are going to overlap again next year.
Yeah, they actually just reached out to me, and I if it was a different weekend, I would love to go up to that one. But I don't know, the Vermont Gatherings events are what I set my calendar to essentially.
And Jeff does an amazing job putting the Vermont Gatherings events on, and
Yep.
I will say I was very impressed by how Luke ran Vermont City, especially he's a younger kid. I say kid because he's probably almost half my age, and he's running this very impressively from what I saw in year one. I mean,
Nice.
Vermont's a hard state to grow any event in.
Right.
Which means they've got to coordinate better and not schedule their events on the same freaking weekend.
Unfortunately, from what I heard from Luke, that was the only available weekend at that venue. He did not want to do it the same weekend, but that was the only available. Also, it's a multi-genre comic anime con against a Ren Fair. So there is a little overlap, but it all depends on if you want to go north or south when you're
right.
in Vermont.
And with two-day events, so I mean, so long as you're not if you're a patron, you do one day and the other the next. So but for vending doesn't work out quite as smooth.
No, it does not.
And you don't have a big enough storefront yet to be at two locations at once.
Yeah, nope.
Soon.
One day, maybe.
And it was quite fun to be at a new con. And the wife is bombarding me with messages because she's trying to get ready for bed, and the door gets pushed open and there are two cats staring at her. Like,
right.
You're home.
Was it the cat's fault?
I'm guessing Haru opened the door.
So, in other words, the cats are just doing what they do naturally.
Pretty much.
How was her time at AAC?
From what I understand, it was a good time. Did pretty well at the table. The most expensive prints that she had was $10, and she almost doubled table money. I'll say that much.
Nice.
Excellent.
Which is really, really good for first time back vending in 3 years. And all new stock.
Excellent.
That's an excellent segue. So what did you do while there were no events to vend at?
Was that to me?
Yes.
Like during the pandemic,
like when there were no conventions, what were you doing?
Homeschooling my twins. That took up a lot of the time while life was kind of on pause. I'm really jealous for a lot of my other artist friends where like when everything shut down and everyone was home for a while, I had so many friends that were like dove into their art so much more and just had more spare time and were just like expanding on skill sets and doing this and doing that. And I had infinitely less time. I actually was going crazy because it was just like I had no time for art or recharge or anything. I have there'll be 7 soon, but boy-girl twins, and it went from them in preschool to home all the time, and there was even a few months there. It's like my parents, their grandparents help out a ton, but like in the first few months when everything was really like confusing, they didn't even go over there for a while. So it was, whoo.
I'm amazed you still have hair.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, it's a wig.
I was half expecting you to lift the hat and the hair to go with it.
Right.
I wouldn't put it past you. I know you too well.
Right. That's probably what I do. If they all fell out, yeah. Why not just turn them into an accessory?
And then we could get some for me. Yeah.
Right. Could market it. But yeah, it was really exciting when events started opening back up again. And like the first one, so not this past summer, but the summer before, the Vermont Summer Ren Fair was the first event back in action, and there was about an hour where almost everyone I knew that was, going to be there at the weekend showed up at the same time. It was like a group of like 2 or 3 people would come up to my booth. We'd talk for a few minutes, and then another group would come in, and I actually had to take a step back when it finally like lulled down after that hour. And I just told my friends, I was like, all right, I'm going to just stand in the back of the booth. I'm just going to breathe for a bit, because it was more humans than I'd seen in 2 years. All like, I saw like 50 people that I knew, and like trying to remember names and be like, oh, when was the last time I saw this person? Who is this person? We're hugging. Is it safe to hug? I mean, we're outside, but it was a lot.
Yeah, I can understand that. I know a lot of people were hesitant. A lot of people still are hesitant about going to events. Our first con back was Kineticon last year, and that's because they bumped that back to fall time. I think it was like October last year that they did Kineticon. And it was I'm not going to lie, it was kind of a shit show for coming back, because the time of the year, they didn't have their normal staffers in the normal positions, because some were back in school, some were out of the area. So it was a lot of confusion trying to get things back. But once I got there, man, did it feel so good to get back to some sense of normality.
Yup. And one of the weird things that I'm still noticing is like some people forgot how to human. Some people got better because they missed the interactions. And so like there's like a lot of appreciation and a lot of, manners. But then some people like turn slightly more animalistic, where they just like don't know how to be in public anymore.
You can see that just about everywhere, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And see, I suppose my experience with that was just very different, because I never stopped going to work.
Same here.
Because when I work on a college campus, and when the campus shut down, my department was one of the few that had to stay open.
And I work fast food customer service, so yeah, we can't shut down, or, well, I'll let you imagine that one.
And subsequently, being on a college campus, you literally saw every extreme.
And then I had my landscape business, which of course isn't going to stop, because grass don't stop growing.
No.
If anything, that doubled my business from the previous year, because more people were actually paying attention to their yards.
Because they were stuck at home.
Exactly. And most of them tried to take care of them in the beginning. And once the heat kicked in, they're like, to heck with this. I'd rather pay the lawn guy to do it.
Makes sense.
And especially down that North Carolina heat.
And also due to the fact that the housing market, a lot of people did cash out refis, and with the new appraisals for their house, which was like many times 100,000 to double, triple what they paid for it. So they locked in at those rock bottom interest rates, pulled a whole lot of money out of their houses, and they had all of a sudden had money to do all kinds of work in the yard, inside the home, everywhere. I mean, heck, one guy, I helped him plant a palm tree that he added for his pool that he just had put in, and he also had a garage built in the back.
Woof.
Yeah, that's the kind of money he got out of refinancing his home because it went from like a $200,000 home to almost a $600,000 home.
Dang.
Wow.
And then, of course, the renovations he did added even more to it.
Right?
And then there's Boston.
Then there's Boston.
Because Boston was I think one of the major cities that reopened like last. Because Boston had so many restrictions for so long, and the economy is still bouncing back. It feels like.
So Boston was like America's Japan. We'll open up after everything else does.
Well, Florida and Texas were, I think, the first areas to just be done with restrictions.
Yep.
And surprises no one.
And ironically, Florida was actually one of the strictest ones in the beginning because my grandpa was in and out of the hospital at that time, and not a pleasant story with how that one ended. But yeah, my friend actually had bought a trailer for his business down in Georgia, said, screw it, I'm going to Florida since I'm right here, and was turned around at the border because he wasn't a resident.
Wow.
Like, that's how strict they got during the initial parts of it. But of course, after 2020 ended, 2021 rolled around, that's when they were like, to hell with this. And then, of course, other states slowly followed afterwards.
Yeah.
And of course, we want to wish Dan a very happy birthday. He just had a birthday recently.
Thank you.
So he has just turned 19 again.
Yep.
About to say, what's your birthday? February 29th?
Right? Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm only 7. It was on the 13th and turned 36. Getting up there.
Still so a youngin'.
Still a youngin'.
Yep.
Yeah, you got 10 years on me.
And also throw a happy birthday out to AJ, Angela's husband. I think they had a birthday celebration today as well.
His birthday is actually while we're overseas, so his parents wanted to take us all out for a birthday dinner.
Nice.
So happy early birthday to him. Since you guys, like you said, you won't be here for his birthday, you'll be overseas. Also, for our viewers out there, this will be the last time we see Angela until November.
Ooh.
Because she will be gone overseas and won't be able to join us for the next 2 shows. Next week, we've got another awesome show. I got confirmation from our guest, Christy Rothrock, will be joining us, and she is planning on dressing up.
Ooh.
As what? I don't know.
Paranormal, spooky, ghosty theme stuff. I'm actually disappointed. I'm missing it.
Well, there's always a video.
Exactly.
And she'll see it when she edits it to put it up on all the podcasting sites, which you can find us on most podcasting.
The only one I have yet to actually get is Apple Podcasts, and that's just because Apple's a pain in the butt.
Tell me something new and interesting.
Something new and interesting? Well, people like isekai, apparently.
That's new and interesting?
No, not really, but no, not really. But I maintain that since I started putting the older episodes up on for audio listeners, one of the ones with the most plays is the isekai special you guys did last year.
Yay! Oh, wow. Well, don't forget, isekai is also how Garnt lost both of his friends on stage.
And Dan has no idea what isekai is. Isekai is a type of anime where the main character is somehow brought into another world, whether it's through summons, death, teleportation. So like you see all those shows where they start off in Tokyo, next thing you know, they're an overpowered magic user that can destroy countries.
That actually helps me understand a meme that a friend of mine shared earlier today, and I didn't get it, and it's like when you want to isekai the isekai van or something like that, and it's this girl like kicking a truck, and then the truck like disappears, and then it is a world of like anthropomorphized people, but it's like the van teleports, and I was just like, I don't know what this means.
They isekai truck coup.
Yeah, one of the popular ways of people being isekai, and it was over dramatized in an anime called Zombieland Saga, where opening scene, girl getting ready to run out the door, heading to school, gets hit by a truck. And you see like 5 different views of her getting hit by this truck and flying through the air. Next thing you know, she's a zombie idol as the storyline goes. That's not the first case. That's just one of the more well-known cases of this truck hitting somebody, to which fans then started dubbing it Truck-kun. So Truck-kun took on a life of its own through many, many different means and many, many different shows. So the girl
makes so much
truck,
more sense now.
The girl kicking the truck and it showing up somewhere else is a spoof of the isekai genre. So I'm happy we could enlighten you and make you enjoy some of these memes more.
I feel so much wiser now. It's amazing.
In fact, technically, the character that the figure I'm showing off tonight is from a show which you technically could call an isekai, because she gets brought into a video game world where she is forced to wear this bear suit. The cute thing about it is this is her daytime outfit. When she goes to bed, it's reversible.
Oh.
And yes, Angela, I did finally go out, buy this figure. It took a couple of weeks. I actually got here sooner than it should have. I got it earlier this week. It wasn't due to, like, Amazon said expected delivery somewhere between the 18th and November 11th. I'm like, it came early. I'm not complaining. I finally got the unit I have been searching for all year. 11 conventions I have searched for this figure.
That's always so satisfying.
Especially when it was money you weren't expecting that paid for it. I was like, all right, that works.
Yeah. My collection is Jurassic Park figures and xenomorphs and aliens and stuff like that. And there was one toy that I didn't get like in my childhood, and I would actually have dreams about it every so often, of like finding it in the store and be like, oh my gosh. Finally got it. Very satisfying. Stop getting those dreams.
I was going to say, because I could probably direct you to a guy who probably would have it. We had him as a guest co-host on the show, Rick from Nerd Urbanity. He deals with a lot of nostalgic collectibles, things of that nature.
Pop culture type stuff.
A few anime figures. I got this from him at Rail City Fan Fest, which this is Golden Darkness from an anime called To Love Ru. Yes, her hair is making a fist. She will beat the ever-loving shit out of you for being a pervert.
Yeah.
But the whole show is perverted, so figure that one out.
Yep.
What? I don't believe it.
You can't blame the principal. That's just how he is.
How else is she gonna kick the shit out of someone if they don't give her opportunities?
Oh God.
Well, you have the lucky pervert, the main character, and then you have the actual pervert, the school principal.
Oh, as they are.
Well, don't forget.
Go ahead, David.
No, go ahead, Doug. I was gonna change topics with. I was gonna change topics with school principals.
Oh, I was just gonna say the school principal from this show is your like stereotypical ugly bastard.
And
those that know what that's from understand.
Because I'm about to say you got two types of principals. You got the pervert principal, and then you got the principal that will let's see, what did he do to that deer in Nichijou?
I don't know. I didn't see it.
Yeah, you've seen it. It's the one where the principal picks a fight with a deer. You haven't seen that?
No, I haven't.
Have you seen that one, Ange? Please say yes.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Have y'all never heard of Nichijou?
Nope.
Not really.
Oh my god.
I'm not much help anyway.
He literally body slams a deer, and the deer literally attacks him.
As one does.
Yeah.
And then in anime logic, the deer turns into a girl and they get married.
Only in interspecies reviewers, Doug.
He hits the deer so hard it teleports it to a different dimension.
He's learning.
Yay!
And becomes an overpowered deer.
Right, and then the arc is it finds a way back to its original world so that it can take care of the principal.
That's going to be the next isekai anime. Studio Trigger, get right on that.
Speaking of Studio Trigger, we finished Edge Runners. Yeah, last night. Cyberpunk Edge Runners. So good.
Yeah.
Doug, you'd absolutely hate it.
Oh, I'm sure.
But for those who either A, enjoyed Cyberpunk 2077 the game, or B, just like some good dystopian content, this is very, very good. According to friends of mine, arguably one of Studio Trigger's best.
Interesting. I just picked a random studio. That wasn't even supposed to be a segue.
No, I made it one because of the studio you picked,
which was ironic. And Space Cow says Deer vs. President is chef's kiss or principal. Is mwah. And Darren has shared the link with us, so I will watch that after the show tonight to see what this is all about.
Right.
And now, do you get much free time for any gaming or anything like that, Dan? Or
some. I haven't played anything new in. Well, I mean, I guess I played Pokemon Acreus when that came out. That was pretty fun. And my son, for my birthday, got me a pre-order for Scarlet coming out in November, and I'm pretty pumped for that.
Sweet.
Very nice.
Most of my spare time, I revert back to my comfort games on my Switch, which are Diablo 3 and Animal Crossing. Good differences there.
I was gonna say, does not compute.
I get the full spectrum of gaming.
It's like I go from Minecraft to Animal Crossing. You have Diablo 3. I can understand though, because that's one of those legendary games.
Minecraft to Animal Crossing makes sense though. And Diablo 3, I didn't actually play it, but I've heard good things.
It was great.
It's a lot of fun, and it's one of those, like, there's a lot of games out now that have, like, the seasons and that kind of rinse and repeat, start from the beginning, and most games I ended up not liking that on, but for some reason, it's turned into one of my weird comfort games. So it's new season starts up, and I don't do it all the time, but every now and then, like once or twice a year, I get back into it, and I'm like, yeah, and get that rush. And then with Animal Crossing, so back in the day, we had like a family Switch for the four of us, and then slowly everyone gets their own Switch. And so I had to say goodbye to my first island when I got a Switch Lite, and then I terraformed it, so it's called Skull Island. And I I actually have it so that the map is a skull based on the topography.
Nice.
And this was a very proud moment for me.
Who's your favorite villager? I have to ask.
Oh, I really like Amelia the Vulture. Roscoe the Horse. Lucky the Mummy Dog. I mean, everyone loves Lucky the Mummy Dog. My island is full of like creepy ones, angry ones, or like inanimate objects like Coco. It's kind of like a sculpture bunny. And I got my 2 pigs, Rasher and Boris. Big fan of Animal Crossing.
At Retro, I almost got one of those amiibo cards for Raymond because
he's the dapper cat.
He's the dapper cat, but hands down my favorite cat. And I would have bought the card if they had it of Mary.
Oh, yup.
I've had her in the past on an island, and she is adorable with like the facial expressions and stuff. And she's excited.
The kid's mom, her island is set up to be like toe beans, and the map is toe beans, and it's all cats.
I haven't done anything that fancy with mine. I haven't actually played Animal Crossing in probably a month. It's all been Minecraft lately.
My son's gotten into Minecraft so much. He was actually talking to a neighbor kid today about it, and like he gets wound up. Like he gets really wound up, but I haven't seen him this level of wound up because I don't think he's actually gotten to geek out about it to another kid before. So like being able to speak that language, he was just like bouncing and just like, oh, and then this, and then the Ender Dragon and the Wither, and it's like.
And they probably both had equally ridiculous stories of things they did.
Yep,
or things they were going to do.
He plays in creative, and this other boy was like a little bit older and was talking about like some of his survival exploits and like killing this and doing that, and Rex was just like, "What? You've killed 6 of those?"
Y'all have time to play games?
You could have this week.
I was
just this week.
Yeah, but there was lots of stuff that needed to be caught up.
Yeah, see, I finished Edge Runners, but I'm not caught up on, I think, anything else at this point, and I'm gonna be 2 more weeks behind on everything.
Did you at least check out Call of the Night?
That I'm saving for. I'm basically what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put stuff on my iPad for the multiple hours I need to kill at the airport, and then a 6-hour plane ride.
Oh, I wrapped that up, Doug.
That was a very intriguing ending to that. That's all I'll say. And I hope it gets a second season.
Same.
But no, it's basically I think I'm in episode. I might be caught up with My Hero Academia, but there might be I don't know what day that drops.
That's okay. It's overrated.
Pretty much.
I'm not even going to argue that.
I didn't say it was bad. I just said it was overrated.
And hence, I'm not arguing. I'll actually agree. I will, in fact, agree with that, and I will agree that the fandom gets toxic.
Which fandom is more outlandish, My Hero or Genshin?
Yes. Though I will say I don't think anything can beat. There's nothing can beat the toxicity of either Homestuck or Steven Universe.
One Piece or
I was about to throw
Ball.
One Piece. I was about to throw One Piece up there, but
or no, I'm sorry. The worst incident was Hetalia. Doug, you know what I'm talking about.
Anytime I hear Hetalia, all I can think of is the story that Tatum told us.
The incident that happened during Anime Boston?
No, the bomb he left for Todd Havercorn.
Oh. No, there's a fandom, there's a reason. Yeah.
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 But Dan, with you being an artist and a creator, and you liking the creepier stuff, I think you would enjoy Call of the Night. It's just basically the story about a vampire and a boy who is trying to fall in love with her, who doesn't understand what love is because he wants to turn into a vampire. And the story gets deep and dark at some points.
Nice. That sounds good.
But from an artistic standpoint, it makes the nighttime look so aesthetically pleasing.
Nice. It's so tricky to do instead of just like a lot of stuff in recent years just gets so like visually dark where it's like I still want to see stuff.
And I think you would enjoy it from the aesthetics and the visual point of view of being an artist to the storyline was actually really good.
Nice.
And don't forget, you really enjoyed the music, which flowed nicely.
The music was great, and I think you'd enjoy the band. The band is called Creepy Nuts.
Heck yeah.
The ending song, like I fell in love with the ending song from the show. And I was told, my wife was like, "You need to hear this." She goes, "That's not your style of music." I said, "I know, but it's awesome."
Nice. And what platform is it available to watch on?
It's on High Dive. But I'm sure we could have Darren get you in touch with a way of watching it if you don't have High Dive.
Cool. Because one of my other day gig that I've started in the last little over a year ago is decanting perfume. And one, it smells nice. I didn't think I'd be able to deal with the smell, but I actually really like it. And two, I actually get to watch stuff. And I was always jealous of friends that could like put something on in the background while doing a job. And so actually being able to like, just on my phone, but it's nice, relaxing, just sitting, drop, and catch up with something.
They have started English dubbing it. I've watched it in its entirety in Japanese though. And my wife and I are watching it together, English dub. So I'm watching it a second time the whole way through, and it is really good.
Nice.
Obviously, I don't want to spoil anything for Angela, but man, and Angela will tell you, if I like a show, 99% of the time she's not gonna.
Our tastes are literally that opposite.
That's why she said, "I loved it, Doug. You're gonna hate it."
Pretty much.
Of the last 3 seasons, we've had 2 shows that all 3 of us agreed on. My Dress Up Darling and Spy Family. So, and I think you'd like Spy Family because that one's very...
Spy Family's just fun and adorable.
You have the main male character is a spy. He takes on a job where he needs to infiltrate a neighboring country and have a family. So he goes to an orphanage and adopts a little girl who's they don't know, but she's telepathic. And
that's handy.
He needs to find. Well, he doesn't know that, and he needs to find a wife. And he runs into a girl who is an assassin and needs to find a husband. Otherwise, they're going to get suspicious of her. They happen to be at the same place, same time. They start talking, arrange a makeshift marriage that works for the both of them, and she thinks it's actually his daughter. The daughter knows the identities of both her parents, but they don't know anything else.
And the parents don't. The spy doesn't know the assassin, and vice versa. It's hilarious.
Nice.
And now they're adding a dog who's not exactly normal himself.
Sounds like a fun show.
Oh, it is. It's so much fun.
And I know you've seen Anya cosplays or pictures or memes all over the place.
The smugness.
God, she is like they made her be one of the cutest characters.
At least one of my friends has claimed that they're going to name their firstborn daughter Anya Starlight.
Wow.
Not Anya Forger?
Nope. Starlight, specifically because of what she called herself when she got the award.
Oh, okay, I got you. When she got the star.
Yes. She referred to herself as Anya Starlight.
And
Starlight Anya, yes, I remember.
And to give you an idea, Dan, I'm sure have seen that face.
Oh, yep, yeah.
That is Anya.
That's she was what, 5 or 6?
5, I think. She had just gotten into the school and
Kindergarten.
The kindergarten, and the kid was bullying her, and so she gave him that look as a smug smile before she beat the crap out of him. He slipped and his face hit my hand.
Well, with her mother being an assassin, she got
some training.
Yep.
Yeah.
And for Christmas, she keeps asking her dad for a specific gun with a silencer.
To be fair, it's from a cartoon.
But it's just, and I've heard Anya's voice in both Japanese and English, and they nailed it in both.
Good, nice.
Megan Shipman does an amazing job as her English voice actress. And I'm not just saying that because Megan's been a guest on the show many times. She nailed that.
Awesome.
Now, one thing I'm curious about is you go down to a lot of different types of conventions and talk to so many different people. Are there times when you're able to get out from behind the booth and check out some of the tabletop gaming areas or things like that, or is it just so difficult now?
I have a couple of good booth babes. My buddy Ben has been going with me to a lot of events. He usually will request the weekend off if I have something I need him at. It's funny. I found him at the first or second Ren Fair. When I was doing my spiel, I could hear him and his other friend talking about it and whispering it while I did it, and they were trying to copy it. And I was like, "You've been copying what I've been saying. Can you watch my booth while I run to the bathroom?" And so he was so good, he was selling some of my stuff when I got back. And I was like, "Okay, I'm picking you up. You now are gonna do these with me." And he's one of my best friends now. Exactly.
You're
to the begrudgment of the friend that he was working for, where it was like, "Sorry, mine." So yeah, I'll definitely go around and check out stuff and schmooze with the fair and con family, and because there's the people that you'll see year after year at all these events, and that's the only time you'll see them. But it's like running into you. It's the same kind of thing where it's just like, "Oh, hey, long time no see. See you at the next one." That kind of.
Oh yeah. And it's like, "Hey, you got to come on the show," and you're like, "Yeah, I do."
Right.
See, we don't forget about you.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't end up doing any of the gaming. I'll usually walk around to see what people are playing and see what's going on. But on the walkabouts, there's rarely stop places, because I know there's going to be people I'll run into that a quick conversation is going to end up being half an hour or something like that. So it's you trying to compensate to be able to get back to my booth in some kind of timely manner.
I know that feeling because I'm a talker at conventions typically.
No,
as you know, if I go up from behind the table, like Vermont Sci-Fi, I stop by a table
until the time comes to be social. Then you don't say a damn word.
I don't know how to be social in a social setting, just in a con setting.
Anime Boston, I tried.
I can't even do that.
I tried getting you to be social at Anime Boston. It failed.
Oh, you shut him down.
No, getting the good nights from the wife, exhausted from a long weekend.
Then again, I'm the one that's prone to running my mouth, and things just kind of happen as a result, for better or for worse.
And in the end, you said it was better that I kind of ducked out when I did because things went to hell in a handbasket.
I basically ended up getting into a room party and then had to take it over because the 23-year-old that was running it had no idea what the fuck he was doing.
Ooh.
And there was also a guy that we should have cut him off. He should have been cut off well before I got there. I took one look at him and cut him off, got some water in him, and then it was too little too late, and he ended up having a fun little ambulance ride.
Oh gosh.
He couldn't tell anybody. Well, we tried to avoid that part, but he couldn't tell anybody where his hotel room was so they could get him back to his room in one piece.
Oof.
Yikes.
So if you're going to these cons and you're going to have fun, be responsible.
Right?
And
don't turn into a story or a bad story, a learning lesson.
I'm also at my age, I'm the mom friend. So if you are ever at a convention I'm at and you just need to get out of a bad situation, a person to talk to, whatever, by all means, feel free to come find me, and I will take care of whatever needs to be taken care of, even if that's just someone to wander around with, so I'm not alone.
My booth ends up being like a convention dad booth, where it's like if someone needs a place to like put their stuff down or like just sit down for a little while, it's just like, come in, all are welcome, all are welcome.
If other people's kids are hungry, you'll share your burger. That was still one of the funniest things that I have seen at a con in a long time. We were at the winter like Christmas fair that Vermont Gatherings put on 2019. That was the last time that we vended a con pre-pandemic.
Yep, the before time.
And Evie had made friends with Dan and was running back and forth because you were what, 3 tables away from us? About. Well, Dan
was it in a row or was it like diagonal?
We were in the same row.
Yeah.
We were in the same row, and you had just finally gotten food after tabling for hours. You finally had gotten some food, and he sits down with his McDonald's eating a burger, and being a father, when kids walk up and have that look in their eyes, out of habit, you go and share. He wasn't expecting her he was expecting a small bite, not for her to run away with the entire bottom bun of his burger, minus what his thumb was holding. The rest of it was hanging out of her mouth. And I felt horrible. I was like, oh my God, I am so sorry. And she turned and looked at you, and it was just dangling, like anime-esque as it could be, with the girl running with bread hanging out of her mouth.
Oh God.
And it was like, oh
Too cute.
My God. And those are stories that you only get at conventions.
Right.
And but that was one of the funnier moments. And Evie still looks for you when we go to con sometimes. It's like, oh, Dan's gonna be here, and she's like, where's Dan? I want to see Dan, so she remembers you.
Oh yeah, I remember at the sci-fi fantasy one back. She came over. She's like, "You're my friend." I'm like, yeah. She's like, "I ate your food."
Aww.
That's how you make friends. You just feed them.
Yeah, that's pretty solid right there.
And I'm getting messages. I got a picture from AAC that my wife had sent. They were sitting at the table, and randomly a lemon rolled up behind their table, and they had no idea. Like, well, I guess life really does give you lemons. And she said that they found out where the lemon came from, so I'm waiting for the answer.
But
Had to hire a fruit detective.
Was it a moldy lemon?
No, I think it was a fake lemon.
Like someone's costume piece?
I don't know if it's a costume piece or if one of the other vendors had it as like a display. I know there was a cupcake vendor behind them. So I don't know if it came from them, but waiting on their response. I will say it was weird to be home while she was at a con.
You chose it that way.
Oh, yeah. It said no legit. It was from someone wearing a sign labeled Life. Life was handing out lemons.
That's kind of fucking awesome.
That is epic. I won't lie. That is really, really good.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Future cosplay goals. Dress up as Life and hand out lemons. Dress up as Truck Coon and run people over.
I get it.
Someone did that. I want to say it was either the end of 2019 or early 2020, before, aka back in the before times. Someone went to a convention dressed up as George R.R. Martin and had a sign that said, I ruin your favorite characters. Because this was right around the time Game of Thrones ended.
And I know that earlier this year, Connor, Sea-Dog VA, was at a convention out in California, and Iron Mouse joined him, a VTuber, on screen. She wasn't there in person, but virtually she was at the same panel, and somebody dressed up as Truck Coon, like big cardboard front end of a truck he was wearing, and he walks up, and all you hear is Iron Mouse screaming, "Oh my God, it's Truck Coon!" And then,
I think that was Anime Expo.
I think it was Anime Expo, and he got, because Connor's known for doing these nuts jokes.
Yep.
Oh, did you see the one he did when he came here?
I have not seen any of their footage from any of their U.S. stops yet.
Let's see. No, it was Joey. It was
I'm
Joey
salty because I didn't go. No, I'm not salty.
So did Darren, I have to ask, did you guys get the Ohio meme too?
In which regard?
Ohio was apparently one of the first stops on the tour, and they got literally 0% of any questions right for the social game.
For ours, we only got one right, and Connor got 2, I think. So Connor actually won that one.
Connor was the one running it for us.
For us, Joey was the one running it.
And Dan, just so you know what they're talking about, there's a podcast called Trash Taste Podcast. There's 3 YouTubers who are anti-tubers. They made big names for themselves doing anime reviews, things of that nature. Joey the Anime Man, Gart, who also goes by Gigguk, Gigguk, and then Connor Sea-Dog VA. The 3 of them were all living in Japan and collaborated on a podcast over a year ago. I think they're 2 years going now, called Trash Taste. Well, they now are doing a U.S. tour. They were in Boston on the 4th, which Angela went to see. Recently, they were in North Carolina, which Darren went to see. Instead of going to see Trash Taste, I went to Retro Game Con in Syracuse last weekend.
Gotcha.
But we got very different experiences.
Very much so. And I will admit, I was a little late to the thing. By the time I had my form filled out, submissions were cut off. But, oh my God, we got some good crap. Oh my God.
Oh God. Well, in true Boston fashion. Hello, Benjamin.
That's my brother. Hey, Ben.
In true Boston fashion, what's the best fast food? In true Boston, Dunkin' Donuts. And now a chunk of the audience's response to that is, Dunkin's isn't fast food.
Well, that's the thing. I assume you know what made our list.
Bojangles?
Yeah, and guess what Joey said when he was asked the most popular restaurant chain?
What did he say?
said
McDonald's?
he literally said the worst thing you could say to someone from the South. Well, North Carolina specifically.
What did he say? Popeyes?
Bingo.
I had to think for a second. I'm like, wait, South. Who makes fun of? Popeyes. Okay. I was like, KFC or Popeyes with the chicken going up against Bojangles.
So for us, it was Taco Bell was number 5. What was number 4? Yeah.
Taco Bell was 2 for us.
I forget what number 4 is. Bojangles was number 3. Cookout was number 2. And then Chick-fil-A was number 1.
Yeah, we had a completely different top 5.
What would the top 5 in Vermont be, Dan?
Oh, geez. We don't have a whole lot of options up here.
They were all surprised McDonald's did not make the list for us.
McD's would probably make it up here. Like, you got McD's, Burger King, 1 Wendy's, Subway. But like, I don't know if I don't know if Popeyes is a sin, but I miss Popeyes. I used to live in Georgia for a while, and to quote Little Nicky, Popeyes chicken is the shiznit. We only have. What was that?
You haven't had Bojangles, so come back to me once you've had Bojangles.
Yeah, I don't think I have.
Well,
we have like a KFC, but it's been closed for a while. There's rumors it might turn into a KFC Taco Bell. That's exciting. We haven't had a Taco Bell in the area for a while.
Welcome to Anime-Zing Radio, where we talk anything and everything.
Yep.
I just love. We went off the rails for 2 of the questions. You know how the last couple questions had wild cards?
Yep.
What was y'all's wild cards?
Oh God, one of the wild cards was a very specific character from a Miyazaki movie.
Because the wild cards were for the biggest Giga Chad in anime and favorite search history.
Oh yeah,
and,
we get the same question.
And hentai category.
Yep. For the
Darren was all over the hentai category.
For the hentai, Connor just could not get over Boston being disturbed.
Bible boy.
We actually got it. We actually did pretty well. We knocked out the 2 sinful ones like right off the bat in 5 and 4.
5 for us. 5 for us was everything else. Literally.
Really? But for us, yeah, number 5 and number 4 were the 2 that everyone shook their head at. And 3, 2, and 1 were actually tolerable. 2 especially. And then the wild card for that was absolutely insane.
Dan's like, wait, hentai? Let me get my notepad.
Right?
No, yeah.
Guess what they put for hentai category?
I wouldn't have a clue.
Chevy Truck Month.
I take offense to that because I work at a Ford dealership.
I actually want to say vanilla was the. I want to say vanilla was the wild card.
That was number 2 for us. Number 1 was Uta.
Yeah, that was up there for us as well.
Yeah.
A lot of degenerates.
NTR and Wincest were at the bottom.
I shake my head. I have no idea what any of these are.
And it was
It's not just me.
Joey's reaction to the to Boston's anime chat was annoyed because he picked the wrong JoJo. He picked the wrong JoJo character.
I was gonna say it was a JoJo character.
Well, he picked one, and then he's like, it's this one or this one, and he picks his final answer, and it's not on the list. And then when the list gets revealed, he just shakes his head and face palms when the one he was going to pick but didn't was number 3.
For us, of course, Kirito was up there, which everyone was booing.
Wait, Kirito was in Sword Art Online?
Yes.
Yeah, no, that was
there. He was up there in the Giga Chad list.
Not for us.
He was number 4, I want to say. Of course, Guts was number 1.
Not number 1 for us.
But here's guess what the wild card was for this. And it's something all 4 of us have seen. All 4 of us have seen this. All 4 of us should know this character. I grew up with it.
Ash?
Close.
I was going to say, is it something from Pokemon?
Yes. Not Ash, but his...
Gary.
No. His mom.
His Ash's mom?
Never seen it, but I get it. No, for us, it was the wild card for that was a DILF from a specific Miyazaki movie, and I do not remember which one.
And Ben, just so you have an idea, Angela and Darren had gone to see a podcast called Trash Taste, who are 3 YouTubers out of Japan who came together to do a podcast. They are currently touring the U.S., and Angela got to see him in Boston. Darren got to see him down in North Carolina. Obviously, Dan and I missed the boat on that one, and so they're talking about the questions between the 2 shows, and Dan and I are like, I have no idea.
Oh my God! So the final game, and this is going back to North Carolina. Okay, 2 things about North Carolina. One, they asked the question: when you think North Carolina, what do you associate North Carolina with? Bojangles was up there again.
Yep.
But
I'm not surprised.
Someone also said something that's very much exclusive to North Carolina, just about. Have any of y'all ever had Cheerwine?
Yes.
No.
Okay, they were like, what the is this? And then someone in the audience in the front row actually had a bottle of Cheerwine and actually handed it to them.
It's a soda. It's
like a cherry-ish.
I was going to say, if I remember correctly, it's similar to Cherry Coke, similar to Dr. Pepper, but different from both.
Yep.
I have had it once. I was like, the name sounds kind of familiar. I had a friend that was obsessed with it and was very excited that they got a case or whatnot.
Growing up, we used to drive to Myrtle Beach from Massachusetts every summer. So stopping along the way, we get to experience some of those unique to the southern states stuff. And that was one of those things we'd get at the rest areas because you couldn't get it up here.
Yep.
I had a friend who used to import Mellow Yellow because you couldn't get that in Mass for a long time. And when he would travel, he would come back with a case of Mellow Yellow for me.
I suppose that's fitting because when you think of Boston, for that question, Dunkin' Donuts came up again.
Well, I'll say this. Probably the best part about all of this is Bojangles came up several times. And you know how the last game they had to argue points that they made during the shows? Guess which one came up?
Bojangles.
Did you guys get the all bread is the same one too?
Yes, but we also got the all chicken is the same.
Oh, yes, I remember that argument. God. All chicken is the same.
So who had to argue all bread is the same for you?
It was okay, since Giga was the one hosting that event, I think Joey had to argue that it all tasted the same, and Sea Dog had to argue against it. But for the chicken one, they changed it up.
Was it Gigic who said that all chicken tastes the same?
No.
Or who was it that originally said that? Gigic is the one that says you don't eat the pizza crust.
Giga is the one that said all bread tastes the same, but the other two were the one that said chicken tastes the same. So since he said, I'm gonna change this up, he had those two argue that all chicken tastes the same, and he himself argued that chicken did not taste the same. And it was perfectly fitting for North Carolina, like I said, because of the chicken wars.
No, all bread tastes the same was one of the arguments for us. Connor had to argue all in favor of all bread tastes the same, and Garnt had to argue because Joey was the one hosting it. Garnt had to argue against his own statement, which was funny, and Connor won.
Oh wow!
And Connor's just like, "What the fuck, Boston?"
But I think you would enjoy some of the trash days. They are 3 anime YouTubers, but they very rarely talk anime.
Well, the joke is at this point, one of the running jokes is, when was the last time Joey the anime man watched an anime?
And Ben says he is out. Have a good night. Oh, we lost Dan here.
Did you do that or did he do that?
I think he did that. I don't know if he meant to or.
I have to say, before the show, you lost me because my tablet decided to randomly close out.
Oh, here he is.
Well, I hope my brother's still there. I saw the message and then I hit something and then it canceled me out. So, Ben, if you're still there, love you, bro. See you later. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for coming by. And again, our guest tonight is Manic Dan from Manic Mart, the creator of all things crazy, wonderful, scary. What are you doing for Halloween, since we are in the month of Hallows?
Next weekend, I'm doing a mystical market on the waterfront of Lake Champlain. That's supposed to be like spoopy and cool. It's going to be the first one. Then going to Vampire Party, like What We Do in the Shadows themed one, and so that should be pretty fun. Halloween weekend itself, I don't have anything specific planned other than on Halloween taking my kids trick-or-treating, and that's always like.
Are you dressing up as well with the kids? Or?
Oh yeah, at least a little bit. I can't not. I'll probably like throw my horns and fangs on or something.
You should go all out as Beetlejuice.
I lost my coat. I don't know where my Beetlejuice jacket is. Oh, and I mean, I could get another one, but like I stained it and stuff. Like the pants and the jacket, I like spritzed them to make them look dirty instead of like the pristine clean, because he's not very clean. And
because I remember that outfit that you wore, and didn't you win a contest?
Yeah, I won Best Villain.
That was
I just had so much fun being real, just being Beetlejuice, and
you were handing out gummy worms and everything.
Yeah, I had the they weren't gummy. I was putting them in my mouth, but they were the fake cockroaches, like just the little toy cockroaches. I had like a 20-pack of them, and I kept them in my pockets. And so since this is before the pandemic, it was fine because I was chewing them and then literally like spitting them out of my mouth and then throwing them at people. But that's not something I think I could get away with these days.
No, but it would be fun to try.
Right, I'd like tuck them up like how people would do with chew, right? You like tuck it in your cheek. So I'd be like walking around for a while. No one would know that I have a fake cockroach in my mouth, and then like, and then spit the bug into my hand, and then put it into one of my pockets and go, save that guy for later. I've been wanting to do Beetlejuice again, and I have no idea where my jacket is, and it makes me so sad. So sad. Oh, and speaking of sad costume things, this last Krampus, last December, my hooves broke. Went up Church Street, and then on the way back down Church Street, my heel snapped off of my hoof.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'd make new ones, but like it's hard finding platform heels, the exact things that I need in my size, and so sad.
Now, how long does it normally take you to design one of your masks?
Really all depends. I mean, like a basic skull mask takes like 5 hours overall. Whereas like this guy that I showed earlier, like, let's see if I can get a good...
Look at this thing, Ange.
Oh, I saw it.
Yeah, so this one probably took like 30 hours to make, and I put like a whole lot of detail in it. And then here's the custom order. So a friend of mine ordered this for, see if I can get it in the light. For going to a SCA event. So like dressing up in like medieval stuff. Let's see if I can get the...
That is
another awesome.
Really cool.
It's got like zipper eyes, and I'm really pleased with how this one took. This one took probably like 20 to 30 hours as well. And he gave it back to me because there's a few tweaks to make it a little bit more like custom fit to his head. But yeah, it depends on the complexity. Like some of them, I would say maybe 10 hours on average for something more complicated than like one of the skull ones. Like if it's not going to be something that I just like pump out a bunch of, if it's like a one-off, usually 5 to 10 hours. Yeah.
And comment from Space Cow, who said, "No, your hooves were so cool. Here's to finding good platforms."
Thank you. The Space Cow. If you know about my hooves, unless you're just saying hooves in general are cool, which they are, but I missed them. I almost cried, and then I had to finish the Krampus walk because I was like leading it in like having to like tiptoe because it was just like the heel that broke off, so I still had like what looked like my hoof, so I was literally just tiptoeing the rest of the street.
That had to have been a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and it was a really weird day. I thought we were going to get rained out because the weather for the whole day said it was going to be like pouring. The walk itself started at 7. People started gathering at 6:30. It stopped raining like almost at 6, but everything was still wet. So like my foot was soaked walking the rest of the way down Church Street. And then after we like dispersed around 8 o'clock, like the heavens opened up and it started torrential pouring. And I've had that luck before with like trick-or-treating with my kids where it's like, it's raining all day. We're still going to go. We get out of the car. The rain stops. We do the trick-or-treating. As soon as we finish, heavens open up and it starts pouring again.
It's almost like, okay, you can do this, and that's it.
Right?
Time's up.
Sounds like every day during the summer for me.
And I know, you said you're looking forward to getting back to more events in 2023. Where are some of the places that people can find you at?
Digitally, my Facebook page is probably the easiest way to find me, or my Instagram. Instagram is at @manic_Dan. I don't update it as much as I should. I wish I could social media a little bit more because I know how important it is, but it's like its own job. Weird. Other than that, the Vermont Gatherings events, so the Sci-Fi Fantasy Expo, the winter and summer fairs. There's a holiday market coming up. They were going to be doing the Steampunk Expo for the first time in a while, but that ended up getting canceled due to a couple like major things interrupting, which is a bummer. I was going to be working on a new steampunk costume. And I'm not sure exactly where I want to target outside of the state. I might try doing something in Salem, probably not around Halloween time because it gets too nuts.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
Yeah, there's a dark side of the con that a lot of my friends have been trying to get me to vend at.
Space Cow says that they've
awesome.
been to a few of the Ren fairs.
Nice.
And as an aspiring Minotaur, your hooves had me super jelly.
Oh, thanks. Heck yeah, make your Minotaur. Do it.
And Space Cow is a very talented artist. We've seen her at quite a few of the New York, Vermont area conventions.
Nice.
So I'm sure you have crossed paths and don't realize it. She knows
Makes
you.
Makes sense. Right?
She might be stalking you.
I'm known. my kids ask me that too, like when they like do pop by to vend with me and like enough people come by and like have seen me before, my daughter will be like, "Are you famous?" And it's like, I'm not famous, sweetie, but like some people know me.
You really get the surprises, like with the amount of conventions that we've vended this year and had a table at for AZR, especially with PucciCon where they had 2 shows. We sponsored both of them. The first one was in Pennsylvania. When they did their second show in New Jersey, Angela was able to join us for that. And you can vouch. We had people come up to the table being like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad that you're back again. It's great seeing you in Pennsylvania." And it's a weird feeling when you're not used to it to have people you don't know be like, "Dude, we loved seeing you out there. We're happy you're here."
Right? It's cool. It's weird, but it's cool.
The weird part's when the voice actors walk up and start chatting with you.
I can see that.
Granted, we were tabled in their row.
But still, being known in the field.
Having Aaron Campbell recognize me before I got to his table was weird in Pennsylvania, and then we were tabled beside him in New Jersey. The only problem was he didn't get to the New Jersey con till Sunday or really late Saturday night because they only had one flight out of Texas that weekend, and he was able to catch it. Unfortunately, he was stuck at the airport for like 14 or 15 hours.
Oh, dang.
Airline problems.
And a lot of it stems to understaffing and overworked.
Hearing that a lot of places these days.
Yep. Hence, I know I'm going to spend too much time at the airport on Friday.
I mean, we all can't sit there and play with plastic. Or can we? I work on Fords. There's plenty of plastic pieces to break. I mean, wait, what? I mean, fix. Darren's the one that breaks them.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I mean, one of my exes used to work as a salesperson for a Sears Auto, and he would tell me what the techs had to say about Fords and what Ford stands for.
Oh, there are so many that Ford stands for. Dodge has a couple.
GMC and Chevy have a couple.
The one that stuck out was Ford. But the statement was fix often, repair daily.
I always liked Ford backwards. Driver returns on foot.
About to say, found on road dead is the one that a lot of people.
Found on record destroyed. Effed over rebuilt Dodge. And then you have Dodge, the damned old decrepit gas eater.
Well, About to say, I tell you what Pontiac stands for, even though it's not a truck. But then I get
Well, the clean version is poor old New Yorker thinks it's a Cadillac.
Yeah.
And then you have Subaru backwards. You are a bus.
Let's see.
Dan hasn't heard some of these before. I take it.
Nope.
Let's see. What were some of the ones for GMC? Before I do that, Jeep is just empty every pocket.
GMC, God's Mechanical Curse. BMW, Buy My Wagon. Black Man's Wheels. There were a few others that weren't as classy as those. Not that they're classy, but those are the cleaner versions.
It's the stuff we cannot say on the air. And good God, we have gone way off the rails more than normal.
I have that effect on people.
I mean, it is Halloween time. It's scary
like,
how far off we've gone.
This is like Rusty levels of off the rails.
You know Rusty Gilligan, don't you?
No, and I know that you've mentioned them before.
Because he's vended a lot of the New England area cons. He was a guest at a lot of them.
Yep.
You'd know him if you saw him. He's a bigger dude, always like an entertainer. Like his personality, just huge, light up a room type of personality with him. So I'm sure you've run into him at cons. He's been at like some of the Vermont Comic Cons and things like that. So, but he's very good at derailing the shows. Now you said that you were big into the Pokemon games. Did you beat Arceus or?
Yeah. I got into some of the like after game stuff and then I stopped. I was trying to do the I can't even remember what it's called, like the extra stuff in the Pokedex where it's like you find it enough times or you see them use these moves. I was trying to get the shiny charm. I might have got. I know I got the shiny charm in Sword and Shield.
But if I'm not mistaken, that was originally introduced in Black and White to try and increase your rate of finding shiny Pokemon.
I think so. And I've been like a shiny hunter for, oh my gosh.
Let's see, my first
15 years.
My first shiny, I believe, was a Veneeri, and I want to say it was either Heart Gold or Soul Silver, or it might have been Diamond. I don't remember. And then I've had another shiny after that. But have you ever come across a shiny legendary?
I would reset for them. So back when I was in college, in the somewhere around like 2010. No, that's not right. 2008. I picked up an old copy of Emerald because Emerald has a cloning glitch. So I reset for the Rayquaza in that until I got a shiny Rayquaza, and then I duplicated them. And I only have like 2 or 3 of them left, but I've always like transferred them up to the next current game and kept going and going and going. And so it's neat having.
You get awards for that, right? If you talk to the development team, if I remember correctly, you can get like certificates saying that this one came from the original games and kept working its way up.
Oh, that's cool.
Darren is our resident Pokemon expert.
Nice.
Yes, that fell asleep. Well, was sick for the Pokemon special.
Yep.
Oh no.
Yeah, we have a trend going here. We did a Pokemon special, which was Darren's specialty, and he was sick. And then we did a special talking about the different types of conventions, and our resident gaming con expert had a migraine, and Angela couldn't make it. Darren mainly knows the anime con side of things, and I know anime and Comic Cons, a little bit of sci-fi, but not really gaming. I also know the train show stuff, which that's a bit different from this world as well.
But yeah, I've done a little bit of everything when it comes to conventions, and then when we had our special to discuss that, I was laid out with a debilitating migraine.
Ooh.
Now, do you play Pokemon Go?
I used to for years. I kind of stopped in the last year or so. Once in a while, I'll load it back in. Maybe I will since it's October, and I do like me some Ghost Pokemon.
I was about to say, I would assume Ghost is your favorite species or favorite type. Any other favorite types?
Like Dark type a lot, Dragon type, and like Rock and Ground have some. My overall favorite is Garchomp. I love me Garchomp.
Oh, me and you would fight then. Guess who my favorite is? Guess who my favorite is?
I don't know.
About to say, who out of all the dragon type Pokemon that are not legendaries, who would put up the biggest fight against Garchomp specifically because its speed is higher?
Oh, is that Haxorus?
Nope. Salamence.
Oh.
I'm huge on Generation 3 because that was like my first step into the Pokemon world. I was really late to it. So Emerald is my baby.
Heck yeah.
Never beat the Battle Frontier though. I got a couple of silver symbols, but honestly, Emerald is the hardest game Pokemon ever put out, specifically because of the Battle Frontier.
And I think that's where the cloning glitch is, right?
It's in the battle. It's in the battle tower.
Darren, if I said Charizard was my favorite Pokemon, would you be surprised by that?
Somewhat.
If I said Squirtle was my favorite Pokemon, would you be surprised?
Eh.
I mean, who doesn't like turtles?
True. But
fire-breathing dragon.
Oh, I always want fire type, but Squirtle was one of my favorites.
Well, I'll say this. Trico was my starter, and Sceptile is hands down my favorite starter of all time. And when they gave him a Mega and made him Dragon type, that was even better.
I'm really happy that they finally gave that nod to Charizard too when the Mega Evolutions came out. Like, okay, fine, we'll give you the actual Dragon. It counts. It finally counts.
Yep.
You finally get your Dragon card. You've been a dragon this whole time.
And the other thing, whenever they did Primal Reversion, I'm glad they finally gave Groudon the fire attribute because he had so many fire-based attacks in the early game, but he didn't have fire attached to him.
Right.
And all this talk of dragons makes me think of the picture I sent you, Darren. This is going to make Anne shake her head yet again because I found another dragon girl waifu. And I'm going to share the screen.
But Latias chose Ash.
But this is a dragon girl from an anime called Beast Tamer. He defeats a Dragonoid girl and ends up being a Beast Tamer. He has the power to tame her, and she becomes basically one of his vassals.
In other words, sounds like to an extent a Pokemon Ranger where they borrow the abilities from Pokemon.
All I'm going to say is I had a couple of friends tell me a little bit about this show and just nope.
It's definitely not up your alley, Angela, and I have loved the first 2 episodes. Granted, you have cute cat girl and cute dragon girl, so why wouldn't I like it?
Exactly.
Bam.
I mean, who doesn't like cute cat girls?
Oh, Well, on that note, give me a second and I'll.
See, I realize
you're showing your cat, girl.
See, I realize I have the wrong blanket on for this. I should have the Gundam blanket, which is on the couch, but the one he threw at me was Yang from Ruby.
And there's Konako. Next to Konako is Rias. I still kind of want to get the stripper pole Rias at some point, but that's like a $300 figure, and I can't justify spending that much money right now in a figure.
And that was a really old radio.
Oh, really? I have to say, that's actually newer than the one that sits in the room at the room in my parents' house, because that one actually had the corded phone on top of it.
Fair. That one just looks like one that I had as a teenager.
Well, it might be. It's an old GE.
Or perhaps it just looks antique.
Up next, he's going to show you a rotary phone. Wait, what?
No, actually, I do have an old rotary phone that my aunt gave me. It's the one that's the 2-piece receiver like you see in Andy and whatnot, but it's got the rotary part on it.
I said that jokingly, and I was like, oh no, I have one.
It's at the office in my parents' house.
Oh my
Which
God.
actually, I actually had to get a converter for that thing because it had the old style like USB plug, the like little 4-prong thing, and so I had to get something to actually make that work.
I mean, who still uses landlines?
We do, because it's still guaranteed whenever the power goes out.
And I will be dead honest, if I wasn't doing this show, I would get rid of all social media and tech.
Again, not surprised.
That's how I feel about like Facebook. If I didn't have my Manic Mart page and Green Mountain Madness group, nah.
Well, I keep Facebook mostly to promote my business, so.
Facebook
and also to communicate with you losers.
Facebook is something I use largely because I have a lot of friends from my competitive gaming days across the world.
And same here. I have my associates from my anime page days from all over the world.
Hence, Facebook is the way that I actually get to interact with these people.
That's how we reached out to Dan, was, hey, Facebook.
Yep.
Come and join us, talk about random shit for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But like nobody knows phone numbers anymore.
That's right. You get them, you save them, and you never look at them again.
Exactly. Yep. You just go into the context, find it, or search the name you're looking for.
Meanwhile, we still have a phone at the house that has one of those little pads on it where you actually used to write your numbers of frequently contacted people.
Oh, an actual honest-to-God Rolodex?
It's the mini version, but yes. God. It's the one that like we would see at hotels or whatnot.
So a tangent, but has anyone here seen a fax machine used recently?
No.
Does everyone here know what a fax machine is?
Yes, I've had to use it many a times in the past.
In my previous department, I had a kid. I had one of the kids. I say kids. He was really almost 30. who had never heard of a fax machine. And he thought we were making this up, and then I had to show him a picture of a fax machine. But I was going somewhere with this, and I don't remember where I was going.
I'm talking about like old stuff. Getting a chance to meet the creator of the video game Rampage at Retro Game Con last weekend was really, really cool.
Now, I love that game.
The funniest part about it was he had a picture of, because he had a figure made, one of the figures of one of the characters, the gorilla from the game, posed like this. And so he took a picture of that in front of the Burt Reynolds pose in Playgirl magazine, because they were posed the same exact way. And he had that made into a print/poster, which he had on his table, which I noticed, and I had to stop and ask, oh my God, is that Burt Reynolds? And he laughed and said, yeah. And he goes, you'll be surprised at how many people buy that, especially couples, where one of them will turn to the other and say, oh my God, that's Tom Selleck. And I start laughing, and the young people out there will have no idea who I'm talking about with Tom Selleck, Burt Reynolds, stuff of that nature, because these are actors who were around in the 60s, 70s, 80s. I don't even know if they're still making movies or not.
Tom Selleck was around through the 90s, potentially early 2000s. I know he made several appearances on the TV show Friends, but I do not remember when exactly those aired.
They reference him in Meet the Robinsons. And what did your dad like? Kind of like Tom Selleck. And then it shows a picture of him, which is funny for a CGI movie to actually reference the real world like that.
That is funny. I forgot about that because I have seen Meet the Robinsons. I forgot about that.
It's been a minute.
It has been.
And Burt Reynolds, last I saw him live acting was probably like the Dukes of Hazzard movie. And that was, a decade ago or more?
Probably.
God damn it. Make me look that up.
I have to say, he came to mind recently when the truckers were going on strike earlier this year. And of course, how could you not
Smokey and the Bandit.
Go back and watch Smokey and the Bandit and watch Eastbound and Down?
Jerry Reed with that classic song.
Yep.
I'm old, and I think I'm the oldest, still the oldest one here.
Yep.
All you youngins.
Yep. I resent that. He's got he had a movie. Burt Reynolds had a movie in 2021.
Okay, so he's still around.
There's a lot from 2016 and 2017. Most of it I've never heard of.
Speaking of movies, and since we are a pop culture style podcast, did you hear that the actor of Hagrid died recently?
Yes, that was a sad time.
So thoughts and prayers go out to his family, as that was sad news that came through. Even somebody like me who has never seen a single Harry Potter movie in its entirety, only snippets here and there, know who Hagrid is. He's kind of one of the iconic.
Did you know that they actually had like an animatronic that looked like him for a lot of the scenes too? Like that's like one of the weirdest facts that I've heard about, like the filming of the movies. Like in a lot of the shots, it's just a robot that looks like him that they did a really good job with making. And it's one of those like, no, that's BS. And then I looked it up, and there's behind the scenes footage of this robot suit that looks exactly like him.
I am not surprised, but
given the size he was portrayed in the Harry Potter series, yeah, I'm not surprised either.
But that goes to show you the wonders and the magic of making these movies. It's stuff that they can do behind the scenes, the thought process and the creativity.
Right.
Yeah, the power of the mind is unbelievable.
And that was back in the 90s before we had a lot of this more advanced stuff we have today.
Now some of the CGI stuff we have now is just too much. You're taking away from storylines.
The movies were actually all released in the 2000s.
I thought the first one came out in the late 90s.
The books absolutely. The movies, no, because I was already in college when the first movie came out.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I guess it was probably like 2001, 2002 when the first one came out, something like that.
Yeah, it might have even been 2000 exactly, but I remember being in college.
I remember, I think I was in second grade when the class started discovering. Well, yeah, I think I was in second grade when everyone started discovering the series and started reading them. And then, I mean, it was a third or fourth grade level book at the time, but us second graders were reading them because we were that good, I guess.
2001.
2001 was the first Harry Potter movie.
Yes.
And then 2002, 2003, next one was 2003, recorded, released in 2004, and then released in 2005.
Because the first
then 2007.
For a few years, they were released in October, November, right shortly before Thanksgiving, and then they changed it to release them in July. Promotional shit where they tried to line it up as close to Harry Potter's birthday as possible.
Well, I'll say this, it was amazing seeing some of the cast change from the first movie and second movie into the third and fourth one.
Oh yeah. Also seeing the anniversary documentary, seeing all of them as adults, it was something else.
And seeing a snippet of a movie that I forget his name, Daniel Radcliffe was in, who was Harry in Harry Potter, seeing him portray like a dead guy who was farting.
Swiss Army Man was such a good movie.
I was shown that snippet of him being used as like a jet ski just powered with farts through the water.
The movie was genius. I love that he started doing like weird roles. Speaking of weird, I'm really excited to see the Weird Al movie that he's Weird Al.
That's going to be interesting.
Right?
Oh my God, we're almost out of time. Where did the time go? It's almost 10.
Magic.
Pretty much.
We went down rabbit holes.
We did. Before we go, though, we want to give Dan the chance to promote himself once again. Any social media, any events where people can find you. You know this as our shameless plugging section, and the floor is yours.
Oh, gosh. Best way to get a hold of me is going to be through Facebook, and that's facebook.com/shop Manic Mart, or just searching Manic Mart. My Instagram at Manic_Dan. Events. Next one is going to be the Mystic Market at Oakledge Park on the 21st. And that's downtown Burlington. Then the Holiday Market, which is going to be December 3rd at the Champlain Valley Fairgrounds Expo in Essex. I think those are my... And then the Winter Ren Fair, same location. I believe that's in February.
You also have a Krampus walk coming up, as you announced earlier.
Yeah, exactly. And so that'll be the 10th. Yep, 10th. It starts at 7. If you want to participate, we welcome anybody who wants to do it, and that's through the Green Mountains of Madness page, our group on Facebook. Can search us and apply. It's a private group, so any of our weird stuff doesn't offend people's coworkers. But it's surprisingly wholesome. It's a very wholesome group. And yeah, for doing the Krampus, like, you don't have to dress traditional. You don't have to have a full fursuit or anything like that. It can just be darkly festive is what we ask. We don't want to have like a buy-in to be able to have fun, like, because a fursuit like that is like a couple grand, really. I mean, you can make one for yourself for a few hundred, but it's still going to be expensive and a lot of time. So we don't expect anyone to have an actual like Krampus costume in order to walk with us. And so yeah, that's Church Street, 7 o'clock to view, 6:30 to get ready. More details will be out soon on the Green Mountains of Madness group page.
If you have heels and Dan's size, reach out to him so he can get more hooves made.
9 in men's, 11 in women's. I need them nice platforms. My hooves were so good. I'm so sad.
Programming notes. Next week, we'll be welcoming Christy Rothrock to the show for a Halloween special where we're going to be talking about more ghosts, goblins, ghouls, all things Halloweenish. She said she's going to dress up. I may dress up as well for fun. And
you better.
But the thing is, what I'm planning on dressing up as is going to be kind of funny based off of a character she voices.
Oh.
So... Yeah. Also, this just in, about an hour before the show started, I booked another voice acting guest. November 13th, we will be welcoming voice actress Kelly Baskin. Many Genshin Impact players will know her as the voice of Amber, who we met at Retro Game Con. So she has confirmed she will be joining us on November 13th. We still have open dates October 30th and November 6th, so we are working on getting some guests for those. If not, we'll just have a fun show talking about whatever.
That works.
Worst case scenario, November 6th, I'll just ramble about how much fun I had overseas because I'll be coming back Saturday the 5th.
So on that note, we have to say goodbye to all of you wonderful viewers out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, thank you to our sponsors, Casey Fox and Home Circle Media. Thank you to Angela, Darren, and of course our guest of honor, Manic Dan.
Thanks for having me, guys.
It was a lot of fun. Until next week when we welcome Christy Rothrock, stay safe, enjoy anime, and we'll see you again right here next Sunday on Anime-Zing Radio on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Bye.